Salam, salam. Inshallah, everyone is doing well. Welcome to another visit from the library. One of the things I learned at al-Azhar was to be a true faqih, to be a true jurist. You can't be a true jurist, it was said to me, unless you study history, and a historian can't be a historian or a true historian unless they study fiqh or the law. So one of the things that kind of impressed upon me is the importance of having a wide array of things that you read and interests. It's not enough just to read in your subject matter, or in the case of law, your madhab. It's very limiting. So history is one of those things that I try to read. So I was just perusing the bookshelf earlier, and I found my copy of Thucydides, the Peloponnesian War. And this is obviously a classic. It's one of those things that I put off many years. I was in the used bookstore that I like to visit in my home state of Maryland in the United States. And I found it a couple of years ago. This was like a nice copy. I tore off the price tag. I can't see it, but the original price is $1.45, if you can believe it, down here in the bottom corner, $1.45. I think I got this copy for about that. And this is a very good edition. It's also small and pocket size. And if you follow my content online, you know that I like pocket size books because I travel a lot. And I wanted to share with you two quotes that stuck out to me. Actually, the first quote I'm going to share with you is from his introduction. And it's so striking that I actually wrote it out in a note card, and I have it sort of near my desk. You can't see it on the camera, but it's right over here. I have it near my desk that I can see every day. So he says at the end of book one, actually. So this is his introduction / book one. He says, quote, "My work is not a piece of writing designed to meet the taste of an immediate public, but was done to last forever." And when I read that, I'm like, oh my God. One of the reasons why we have the book until now is, and it's lasted because of the way he wrote it. He didn't write the book to be popular. He didn't write the book because he thought that that's what people wanted to read or wanted to hear at the time. He wrote the book because that's what needed to be written, and it needed to be documented in this way. So as somebody who's always trying to put out content that's useful, I think about that a lot. I want to put out content, I want to write, or I want to record something that's important, that I think will last forever, not necessarily something that is happening right now or is important right now. And that's something to reflect on, because I think a lot of times we are meant to feel that we have to have an immediate opinion about everything. And that's one of the problems that we have with social media, is that we have the power to have an opinion about everything, but we actually don't need to have we don't need to have an opinion about everything. Sometimes I have no opinion, and I'm just going to focus on what I need to focus on. So that was something that I wanted to share with you because it's personal. It's on my desk, or in my bookcase more precisely. But the next thing I want to tell you is I want to share with you this quote that comes from Pericles' funeral speech, which is a very famous funeral speech. If you have a classic education, most likely you had studied this speech as part of rhetoric. As a matter of fact, the structure of this speech is the basic structure that President Abraham Lincoln used for his Gettysburg Address. And as you know, the Gettysburg Address is very personal to me, and it's one of the pieces of English writing that I like most. And I celebrate and I read it every November to commemorate that speech and that event in American history. So anyway, that's why this is important. So he's going on, it's a funeral speech, and this is about, I would say, maybe 2/3 of the way into it. He says the following: "For famous men have the whole earth as their memorial. It is not only the inscriptions on their graves in their own country that mark them out. No, in foreign lands also. Not in any visible form, but in people's hearts. Their memory abides and grows. It is for you to try to be like them. Make up your minds that happiness depends on being free, and freedom depends on being courageous. Let there be no relaxation in face of the perils of the war." So, this is such an important quote, because the reason we learn about people in the past is for what they did. And we learn about what they did because it's worth remembering. like this book itself. Thucydides writes this book, and he said in the beginning, this is for eternity. And I mean, I don't think it's going to be, nothing's eternal except God, but the ideas will be around, inshallah, for a long time because there's a lot of benefit. But we look at the people in the past to remember what they did so we can learn those lessons, because many of those lessons are lessons that we have today. And it is our job to be as equally courageous. It's not easy to go against the grain. It's not easy to stand up against injustice. It's not easy. It's uncomfortable to be an agitator. To agitate, the status quo is agitating. It's agitating for you as an agitator, and it's agitating for the status quo. And it's why most people don't want that kind of noise. It's just, calm down, settle down and things like that. But that's important. It's important that we remember the bravery of the people in the past. Life only changed or got better whenever it did get better because somebody stood up or some people stood up and said, no, this is not right. We have to stand up and we have to, advocate for the truth. As believers, as a Muslim, that's something that's front and center in my consciousness, is that we have to stand for the truth, even if it's against ourselves, the Quran says. And those truths are those immutable first principles that are shared essentially by everyone. I mean, very few of the first principles will be first principles that will be argued about. But a lot of those arguments are really just about nomenclature. I mean, right of the sanctity of life, right of people's property, right for people to have a dignified life. Those things are basic. But believe it or not, we live in a world now where a lot of that basic stuff is under attack. So I was just perusing, like I said, the bookshelf. I picked up this copy and I just wanted to share with you this quote. As a call for us to be brave in our morality, to be brave in our steadfastness. Hopefully you find that beneficial, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Be well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.